Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Thoughtful Leaders, an initiative under Thoughts on Education by Collegedunia.com. Collegedunia is one of India's leading education portals catering to students, parents, and education industry players who are seeking information on exams, cutoff, student reviews, or applying to colleges. Thoughts on Education initiative is to enrich the user experience at collegedunia.com and try to bridge the long due gap between the vision of top management and the students or parents. Today, we have with us Dr. Debashis Guha, Director of Machine Learning at Jain School of Global Management. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Beginning with the interview, my first question to you is that you have an industry exposure for over 30 years now. So, what keeps you connected with the education sector, and how has your experience been so far with SPGN Global?
Yes, I have been associated with the IT services and allied industries for a long time. And what I realized a few years ago was that this industry was at a crossroads and needed to change because the advent of technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on meant that the entire IT services industries was going to change. So at that point, what I realized is that the Indian IT industry and the people who work for that industry need a forum, an educational opportunity to retrain and reorganize themselves into this new reality. Right about that time, I came into contact with some people at SP Jain who were in fact interested in the same thing. And I met with the leadership of SP Jain, and I found that they were more or less of the same opinion and headed in the same direction. So at that point, I decided to join their team, and it has been a very pleasant and happy experience so far, where we are trying to bring these new technologies in sync with the traditional management education that SP Jain is so well known for, because we believe that the future of management is going to be data driven, AI driven, and that all managers of the future are going to need a very strong grounding in technology, especially artificial intelligence technology. And that is why we have started several new courses, including the management of the Master of Artificial Intelligence in Business course, which combines a training in the technology of artificial intelligence with a traditional management education. So it has been an excellent journey so far, and I hope it we will can achieve more and better things in the future.
Right, sir. So, moving for the second question, in your opinion, what is the right set of skills a candidate should have in order to pursue the Masters of Artificial Intelligence in Business?
Well, the core skills that are required in studying this are, first of all, engineering or IT skills. So basic knowledge of computers, not necessarily a lot of coding knowledge, but familiarity with the basic and some coding knowledge does help. Some coding skills do help, but it's not absolutely essential. What is essential is familiarity with the computational tasks, computational thinking, the facility with computer usage. In addition to that, we need math skills. Now, again, we're not talking about specific math skills, knowing specific subjects in math, but more a general familiarity and facility with mathematical subjects. We do want people who have a technological education, preferably in engineering or science, but we have found that sometimes people from other disciplines also do quite well. But the core skills that are necessary coming in are mathematics and computational. There are other skills that we would like to see. We would like to see people who have some business experience. We have found that that usually helps. Again, it's not absolutely essential. We have seen people with very little work experience also do well in similar courses, but some amount of uh, work experience is also that does help.
Okay, sir. So, moving on to the next question. As the director of the program, how do you try to bring in a practical approach towards the subjects and make it industry oriented?
Well, the design of this course from the very beginning has been in consultation with industry. We have an industry advisory board in multiple locations. We have multiple campuses, and we have local industry leaders on these industry academic boards. We also have personal connections with people in the IT and other industries, and we talk to them all the time. And the design of the course came out of these consultations of what industry needs most of all. And they made it clear that what they need more than anything else are managers who have a strong ground in technology, people who had only management knowledge or people who had only technical knowledge were unsuited for some of the roles that they were looking to fill most more frequently than others. So essentially what happens is that, first of all, many of our faculty like myself have industry background and have industry connections that we talk to all the time. In addition, we have a formal consultation process through industry advisory boards, and these are uh, essential parts of our curriculum design and course design processes.
Right, sir. So, moving forward with the next question, what are the interventions and the approaches you bring in apart from the curriculum to train or teach the students?
Well, the interventions that we bring in, we are bringing in new innovations all the time. For instance, one innovation that we are going to introduce for the MAIB course is that before they go into class, we are going to provide them with introductory videos which graphically illustrate in a very simple way and in a very striking way the topics, the main elements of the topics that are going to be taught. So this is one innovation that we are going to introduce
Right.
to this course. There are others like that we have used for a long time that all work very well, like projects, writing reflective essays that reflect on some aspect of the course, and so on.
That's right. So, moving on with the next question, how does SPGN Global tend to build an industry connect with this program?
There again, there are multiple ways we do that. We are very, very industry focused. We maintain a strong connection with industry, with our alums who are in, senior positions in many industrial sectors. We bring in people that we know personally, our former alums. Many of our former alums are, working in this area, AI and data science related areas. So we already have people who are going to be speaking to our students during this course and giving them an industry view of, what these subjects mean. In addition to that, they have two projects. One would be an industry project where they take an actual real life problem and work on it for a whole semester. And then there will be a capstone project at the end, which they can be a research project or it could be some kind of industrial research project. And that will again be uh, will be carried out in close collaboration with our industry contacts and our alumni.
Right, sir. So, moving on with the next question, how does SPGN Global enhance the skills of faculty under this program and prepare them accordingly for the industry standard?
Well, for all faculty, not just the technology area, but all our faculty we have a program where track is kept of how they're upgrading their skills and their knowledge through seminars, through conferences, through research, through a multitude of ways. So this is all standard practice across all disciplines in SPJ. In addition to that, many of our faculty are from industry to begin with. We have people that have spent, decades in industry, working at, very senior levels. We have many faculty who are still, they are actively working on consultancy projects and, funded research from industry. And of course, we already talked about our connections with industry leaders. We talk to them, we invite them for talks to our students. We have our students go over, and so in this interaction, also faculty tech can hone their skills and their knowledge of, you know, modern industrial practices and what industry is thinking of, what theoretical considerations are viewed most eagerly by industry, and what new techniques industry is focusing on right now. So we are very close collaboration with industry practice in multiple ways.
Right, sir. Sir, moving on to the next question. In your expertise, what possible trends do you see evolving in the AI industry post-COVID scenario?
That's a very interesting topic. One, there are multiple ways, but let me focus on one. Now, one thing that has come out of COVID era lockdowns and work from home regimes and so on, that is going to, some of it is going to be temporary. Many of us are going to go back to working in an office rather than working from home. But some things are here to stay, and that is what we found was that a lot of travel, a lot of work in offices was not really necessary, and remote work, remote meetings like the one we are having now, are perfectly okay to get the job done, and that of course means more online, more digitalization. Now, the funny thing about that is that there is going to be an effect from it which is somewhat unexpected, and that is that the wide acceptance of digital platforms and digital methods of working and communication will mean that a lot more data will be available, decisions will be much more data driven, and generally the acceptance of data oriented architectures in business is going to increase even after the lockdown ends and hopefully the pandemic itself ends. What that means, however, is that AI will have to come out of its sort of specialist era of people who uh, have specialized niche knowledge and become more of a democratized function where it will be used by a lot of people. If you, I don't know if you can remember that far back, but in the last century, word processing, spreadsheets, these were all specialized work. There used to be
Right,
people
sir.
who specialized in word processing. There used to be people who did, nothing but Excel work. Now, of course, most of us can use Word, can use Excel. It has become democratized
Yes,
because these software is now widely available. Everybody knows about them. They're easy to work with. This is what is going happening with AI right now. That more and more processes and softwares are coming online, coming on stream. That is going to make AI much more available, and this is going to be one of the lasting legacies of the dislocations caused by the pandemic.
yes, sir. I totally agree with the point you made. And moving further, sir, I would like you to please enlighten our viewers on the possible job opportunities in the field and what does the career ladder look like.
Well, this is AI work is mainly, it is still IT related work, and the designations vary a lot from company to company. So let me focus on the roles filled by people from this discipline. One set of work now, all of AI that it exists now depends on having a lot of data, and a lot of data that can be accessed and used easily. So one part of it is just that part of it. It's kind of a what sometimes is called data engineering, and that is also part of the AI, fabric, the AI ecosystem. So at least some people who have those skills and who are interested in those skills are going to become data engineers and climb up the ladder in terms of, what level of data engineering they're doing, just, maintenance or design or maybe strategic asset management of, data assets. So there is a whole ladder of career ladder that you have to climb, starting at the freshman fresher level of just managing the data lakes and the databases, and then going on to design, going on to strategic management. The other part of it is the kind of the core software development part of it, where you actually develop the software. You write the code, most likely in Python or something similar. And a lot of freshers are going to start out by writing code, and they're going to be asked to write code that implements, methodologies to solve specific business problems. And again, there is the usual hierarchy of coders, and over time, coders, in the IT industry, coders are not supposed to be, supposed to be young people. And after a while, they tend to become managers and go on to a management role. The third one is the one that we are really addressing in the MEIB program that we are going to start. And that is what I like to call the system engineering or system management role, where you are neither a coder nor hardcore data engineer, and at the same time you're not just a manager or a management executive, but you're somewhere in between, where you look at problems that can be solved by AI. Sometimes you are in a department like, we just recently talked to a major pharma company, and they have a team which takes requests from the rest of the company about problems that could be possibly solved by AI, because the functional departments may not know exactly what AI is capable of. So they send these business issues and business problems to the AI team, and the AI team tells them, okay, this is one we can solve right now using this technique. Do you want to go ahead? Or they might say, well, this is too advanced for our techniques now. We can't really do this right now. So the AI team takes the requests and the issues that come up all across the company and translate them into models and software that can actually solve the decision problem or the quality problem, or whichever problem that they want to look at. This is the role that is the most promising role, and I think has a lot of potential of career progress, because you are at the center of the innovation that AI is bringing to the business world, where a large number of problems that either were solved not using data, using subjective means, gut feel, but can be better solved by data, and other problems which nobody even attacked because there was no way to do it. But now with more AI techniques available, more hardware, better software, we can actually take these problems and solve them. And you are at this cutting edge of innovation in this third role. This is just starting out, and the career progress is certainly to more senior management roles, and possibly to strategic management roles, which are also getting influenced by AI driven data processing. So these are the three roles and the progress of these three roles that we can think of right now.
Okay, sir. So these were some really insightful job opportunities that you gave us an idea about. So this brings us to the last question for the interview. What valuable advice would you like to give to the students for them students to have a prosperous career ahead?
There is a bit of advice that a friend of mine once gave to students. He's a very successful entrepreneur in this area, and what he said is that learn coding, not because because you are going to be a coder, but learning coding, whether it is in Python or Java, it doesn't really matter, some language, not necessarily because that's going to lead to a job or that's going to be your career, but to learn to code is to discipline your mind in
Right.
a way that nothing else does, because coding means that every assumption must be clarified, every detail must be specified, and this is a very useful training for someone who is going to do data driven decision making and AI. So in addition to the practical advantages, which means that you can get a job as a Python coder, there are a lot of other advantages to learning coding. And I would suggest to everyone that wants to get into AI is to start with Python coding. Learn Python, learn coding. That's the first step anyway in order to become a professional AI engineer or AI manager. But in addition, it trains your mind in a way that is going to be very useful, even if you do not become, uh, do not learn your, do not earn your living as a coder.
Okay, sir. So thank you so much. This was certainly an insightful session, and we look forward to interact with you again. Once again, thank you so much for giving us your valuable time amidst your busy schedule.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, sir.
Goodbye now.